Hey everyone, I've been waiting for this figure for a long time and I'm so glad we finally got this. So this is Star Wars Black Series, The Clone Wars, Savage Opress, or Savage Opress, I'm sorry, he might be French. But I've been waiting for this figure for quite some time. I'm a big fan of The Clone Wars, and Savage is a character that only shows up, I think, near the tail end of the Clone Wars animated series, I think in the last 2 seasons or so. And his appearances have been limited to mainly just the animated series. There might be a few comics about him, but aside from that, unless you really followed the Clone Wars cartoon series, or particularly Darth Maul's storyline, you probably would not have known about him. So just a quick overview of the box. There's some of that very nice character art. Shot at the back. So a monstrous warrior created by Count Dooku. And Mother Talzin. You know, we've already got Dooku now and Savage. So I guess Mother Talzin is probably like the last of the CIS main baddies that we need. Now that I think about it, reading the character bio, yeah, we haven't thought about Mother Talzin in a while. So yep, that's just a quick overview of the box. I'm going to change the camera setting and we're going to just do a quick unboxing. Alright, so let's get this bad boy opened up. Just some legalese at the bottom, nothing really important. Made in China, if it was in any doubt. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh, and I popped out the back plate first. Okay, anything in the box? Nope. So we'll just put that to the side. And here's Savage. Put that here. Not quite sure what background is that. Nothing special here. I'll just put that in the trash. I'll put this back plate away, and here we go. Savage Opress. So he comes with 2 weapons. I'll cover in some tape here. Let's see if I can just cut that out. Shoot. Yep. And here. Oh, okay, very nice. A nice painted finish with a decent wash, I would say. Very gunmetal. Put that to the side. And I'll just put out the lightsaber. Just cut this gently here, and I'll just cut that gently along the side. And somewhere here. Okay. And he's got a dual bladed lightsaber just like his brother. Although I don't recall it being this color. I recall it to being a much darker color, almost like it was made out of wood. I could be wrong, but don't hold me to that. I don't remember it being this color. But anyway, here's the main attraction. Let's pop him out. And oh, okay. Put that to the side here, and as it drops off my table. My goodness, this is a nice looking boy. Let's get a closer look at that head sculpt. So some really nice eyes there. Very nice paintwork actually. His spikes, pretty sharp actually. The neck is a bit... okay, so it's a little crooked out of the box, but it's just a matter of just readjusting him. Good shoulders. Really nice shoulder design actually. Soft goods. Did not expect this. Well placed soft goods. Oh, ab crunch. Nice ab crunch. decent elbow range, I'd say. We'll figure that out later when I'm posing him next to his brother. But on initial inspection, this is a really good looking figure. Yeah. Okay, let's put him down, and I'll change the camera angle again so we can get him posed next to some figures, of course with Darth Maul, his brother. Oh, just one thing to notice, this is molded, this insignia. I'm not quite sure if I can recall what this insignia is. Is this the insignia of the Night Sisters maybe? I can't remember. But yeah, first impressions, already very impressed. Let's go ahead and change the camera angle. And we're back, and I just wanted to start off with a close-up on that face sculpt because, man, this is one handsome Zabrak. Like, I'm very impressed by the face sculpt considering the fact that they didn't really have much references aside from the animated series. So I'm not sure what model that they use for the photoreal on the photoreal printing on this, but I'm very impressed. He has a very defined chin. His nose is much more sharper than Darth Maul's. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to show that later, but yeah, a very impressive head sculpt. Let me see whether I can get a close in on the eyes, because he might have those Sith eyes. So let's see whether I can get close in on the eyes. Although it's unlikely if I can get the light to shine. Let's see, alright. So, no Sith eyes, or at least no really obvious Sith eyes. But still, a pretty decent head sculpt. Not decent, I would say this is a very good head sculpt, pardon me. Whoever was in charge of the design for Savage's head sculpt definitely needs to pat himself or herself on the back, because this guy is picturesque. Look at that. What a profile. Alright, so let's zoom out a little bit. And as I was playing around with him, as I was admiring his visage, I futzed around with both this poleaxe and his lightsaber, and I decided that definitely the poleaxe look is definitely the way to go, because this definitely gives Savage a much different, wow, I'm using a lot of French terms, silhouette, as compared to everything else on my shelf. So okay, we'll go through some of his articulation if I can get him balanced and I can get the camera back in a position. Okay, so yep, there we go. So our camera is back in position, and let's get this bad boy focused. Alright, so he's focused. So articulation wise, good articulation, I would say. Nothing feels gummy, everything feels nice and rigid. The shoulders are not hindered at all by this armor piece, although it doesn't look like you can pop them off, so it definitely looks like it's molded in. I'm not sure if you can pick that up here, but it's definitely probably it's pegged into the arm with another loop, so it just pegs in together with the arm. So you want to remove these shoulder pads, you probably have to remove the whole arm and then just remove the shoulder. Along with these bicep pieces, also looks like they can't be removed. So I'm just going to put that there. Just take off this poleaxe and his lightsaber. Leg wise, let's see, he can do the splits even with the soft goods up to a certain point. This loincloth thing doesn't really impede his movement much. In fact, I would say even the soft goods skirt that he has won't really impede. I mean, Savage is a heavy, so you're not expecting him to do like insane kung fu moves. He's hit hard and hope for the best, I guess. So you can get him in like some decent poses, I guess. Like he's got ab crunch, he's got a good wide stance that you can get him in. Let's see if I can just pop this thing on. And let's see whether we can dual wield it. So yep, you can dual wield or two-hand it, I guess. Here we go. So you can totally do this. You can get into a relatively low crouch, and he's got enough ankle support in his ankle rockers. A little bit on top heavy considering how much more sculpting he has on the top, but ultimately I think you can put him in some decent poses here. As my camera gets knocked out of focus. Yep. Oh, still a little bit out of focus. Alright. So yeah, definitely something to admire for his figure of his size. He's definitely got a lot of possibility or posing options. Nice ab crunch to get him like low. You can look up. And can you get him into a kung fu pose? Not without some help, of course. But yeah, definitely very unimpeded by anything, by his sculpt in terms of articulation, and sculpting wise, very impressed. Very impressed. So I'm just gonna grab some figures from my collection. And we're back, and I just fished out some figures in my shelf that I would think was suitable for size comparisons. So of course, first and foremost, we gotta have dear old brother, Darth Maul. So we got both the Zabrak brothers here. Both Maul and Savage are Zabrak males in the story, Zabrak being their species. And despite the size comparison, in fiction at least, Savage is the younger brother, and he's not usually this big, so spoiler alert, he's not natty. But yeah, definitely this is a good indication or a good representation of the size difference between Maul and Savage in the show. And I wish I could just zoom in a little bit to show the differences between the faces. So here you can tell that Savage has definitely a much more sharper look to him, whereas Maul, even though his face is supposed to be based on Ray Park, a real life person, it's more after Ray Park's more wider nosed real world proportions. So yeah, definitely happy to have both of these guys here. So that's Maul, and I'm just gonna put Maul aside to have Savage stand against one of his most frequent enemies in the show, which is of course, and also Darth Maul's most frequent enemies, which is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And this is the Clone Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Clone Wars armor. And yeah, in the show, Savage and Obi-Wan go up against each other frequently enough, and Obi-Wan being Obi-Wan usually comes out on top. Although for fans of the series, he doesn't come out unscathed completely. No spoilers, you should definitely check out the Clone Wars cartoon series. And for size comparison, and it shocks me to say this, but I do not have a Wookiee in my collection. That's something I got to rectify someday. So instead, I just have a comparison to another, I would consider this another deluxe size figure. And let me see if I can get him in the shot and still have Savage standing next to him. So this is Savage next to Zeb Aurelius from Star Wars Rebels, and Zeb is a unique sculpt here. He's definitely just about the same size as Savage here, just maybe slightly a head taller. It's probably because of how I posed his legs. He could be actually much taller, and they definitely justify the deluxe price point for this figure, and they do look good together. Although I would say, because of Zeb's origins as a Rebels exclusive species, I think his species only started to show up in Star Wars Rebels. We've seen some other characters also come up from Zeb species in other shows or games. Actually, I think there's a Jedi Master of this species in Star Wars. I want to say Jedi Survivor, Cal Kestis' master. I can't remember his name now, but basically the same species. So, and interestingly enough, this figure has never been remade, so I would assume that that master will eventually come out using that buck. But yeah, to go back to our boy Savage here, if I had to grade this out of 10, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. I don't think I have the credentials to really throw out rankings or grades like that, but really, from a perspective of a very casual collector, this is definitely one of the best figures I had. He's definitely pricier than most of the other Star Wars Black Series figures, and for a good reason too, because I don't see how they could reuse this buck or this mold unless they just do another recolor of Savage, and or maybe just get another big boy and remove the shoulder plates and things like that. So he's definitely a good buck for the big boys, and there are quite a few big boys in Star Wars lore for sure, but the way it's been executed here, totally happy. The horns, the color, the muted green with weathering versus the purple, and that yellow that just pops. It really just pops. I'm just gushing. I'm so happy I have this. So I'm just gonna end this with Savage and Maul together finally, and I think that should be it, to be honest. Like, in terms of CIS villains, I think I did mention off screen or in the previous shot that we might need Mother Talzin, and that would be an interesting character to have in the CIS. So you have like Mother Talzin, Dooku, Maul, Savage, Asajj Ventress, and Cat Bane, and maybe if you were a fan of all the other Caliphare bounty hunters, yeah, they would totally be a good collection or a good way to end the CIS. CIS characters, at least. There's still a few droids here and there that we could add into it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are able to hunt down this figure without much fuss. And let's hope for really good things to come out for Black Series in the future. And all the best. These are very interesting times we live in.